everyone. I'm Jasmine, and this is my city partner, Sergeant Brenton Garrett. All right, so at the beginning of the year, we were presented with this statement: increase trust between police and residents through technology. I know you're thinking, how are you going to do that? Trust is about people, not technology. It's about relationships. And this year in Vallejo is about people and relationships. The goal for the tool that we're building is to help the city and the police department become more efficient so they can spend more time with people building relationships. And it all started with Tina. It was 2008, and Tina had just moved into her new Vallejo home with her husband and her 2 babies, a third on the way, when 2 weeks after having moved in, their house was burglarized. In fact, many houses in Tina's neighborhood were burglarized. Her neighborhood was averaging 12 burglaries a month within a 9-block radius. And they weren't the only ones.
After the city filed bankruptcy in 2008, the police department's resources were cut from 158 officers down to only 78 police officers to police the entire city. Traditionally, law enforcement consists of 3 main components: patrol, investigations, and community services. Following the bankruptcy, 2/3 of those were first to go, and the police department had to focus primarily on high-priority calls coming from 911. As a result, property crimes, which included burglaries and theft, soared, with Tina's neighborhood being a primary target.
After coming home having delivered her 3rd child, Tina decided she'd had enough. She wasn't going to raise her children in a neighborhood marked by fear. So she grabbed a big poster paper, drew by hand a map of their entire neighborhood, went on crimereports.com, and placed markers on the map where incidents had occurred. So pink for home burglaries, yellow for attempted burglaries, and green for car thefts. Then Tina marched door to door to door in her neighborhood, showing her neighbors this map and asking them to join neighborhood patrol with her and take back their neighborhoods. Bless you. And they did. After only 30 days, Tina's neighborhood watch group grew from 25 members to 188 members. If you remember, when they started, they were averaging 12 burglaries a month in her neighborhood. And now Tina's neighborhood has had 0 burglaries in over 2 years.
The police department noticed this and hired Tina on. We had to. We hired Tina on to do what she was doing for her neighborhood for the entire city. And she helped create what would be called the community service section, specializing in quality of life issues in neighborhoods, neighborhood watch, teaching residents how to work together to protect themselves in dealing with issues in neighborhoods coming from buildings left unsecured due to negligent property owners. Once Tina started, neighborhood watch groups rose from 30 active neighborhood watch groups to 257 over a 2-year period. As mentioned, 2/3 of the department's resources had been cut as a result of the bankruptcy. But with Tina, we were able to bring vital community services back with less resources and a deeper connection to the community than ever before. This and Tina showed us how teaming up with the community could work, and now that's one of our biggest priorities. 2 questions remain. How do we scale? How do we get more people on board? City staff, officers, residents working together.
When we met Tina in February, my fellow fellows and I, and we rode along with her and 2 other community service section officers, we noticed Tina was doing everything by hand. This is her sitting in the car with me during our ride along, and the officer's out investigating a property, and Tina's listening to 50-some voicemails from residents requesting help on quality of life issues, then she's calling every single one of them back to let them know she got their call, writing their information on this notebook, and then transferring all of that to an Excel spreadsheet later when she gets back to the office. All of that can take her over 4 hours a day, every day on this. So first things first, we needed to eliminate that. So now, reports from residents will go directly into the system, notifying Tina and other officers when new reports come in. So all a resident will have to do is go online to report, which is great because those residents that don't have Tina's cell phone number and may not be connected to a neighborhood watch group can also request help. And those 4 hours are now eliminated. Also, we are providing a feedback loop for residents. If you remember, I mentioned that Tina calls every single one of them back because she wants to let them know that someone's on the other end. So we want to keep that in there. Now, when Tina or anybody using the CSS tool opens a message, a resident will be notified, and Tina can put in a personalized message to let them know what's going to happen next. And also, when we rode along with the police department, we rode along with code enforcement, and we rode along with the community service section officers and Tina, we noticed we kept bumping into one another, working on the same calls for service, talking to the same residents, and visiting the very same properties. So we decided we needed to find a better way to collaborate across departments and get rid of duplicating all of that work. So now with the tool, any department working on quality of life issues can log in and collaborate on the work together. So they can assign multiple people from different departments to the same case. They can comment to each other to let each other know what's going on if there's any updates. And they can track and collaborate on the work and see their progress towards resolving these issues for residents. All of that means that they'll be spending less time on all of this inefficient work and be able to get back in front of people building those relationships.
Without the right tools, officers, city staff can spend over 4 hours a day on manual, inefficient processes. That's time away from the face-to-face contact and relationship building that we saw from Tina can be so powerful. And we're doing more with the community than ever before. Things like coffee with the cops, dinner with the chief, neighborhood watch summits. Our police department open house, which was held just last month, well over 400 people came as we opened our doors to the public. Then there's our mobile application. We rolled out a mobile application that's available on both Apple and Android platforms. Then there's the Chief's Advisory Board, comprised of about 23 members from our community, with 3 of those members actually being student representatives from 3 of the local high schools. And finally, my favorite, midnight basketball. This was 7 weeks, Friday, Saturday night, meeting with youth within our community, interacting with so many community partners to build relationship with youth in our community. I remember when it struck me that it was working. One of our officers who was involved in the program basically said he saw one of the young men involved in this program walking down the street. So he decided to pull his police unit up to him to contact that youth, just to have a friendly conversation. The youth was a little hesitant at first, looking back, not knowing whether to run or stay. But officer exited his car. The young man noticed that officer from the late night basketball program, and the 2 engaged in friendly conversation. Great example. And that's really the point. Technology helps us get things done. But trust, it's all about people.
We're building a tool that will reduce the amount of time spent handling hundreds of quality of life requests from residents. It will reduce the amount of time spent duplicating that work across departments to handle those requests. And it will prevent residents' requests for help from falling through the cracks. All of that means that the department and the city will be able to spend less time on paperwork and more time with people, building relationships. Thank you.
Thank you.